Okay, hi there, I'm Alice and welcome to Study Diaries. In today's little audio, we are going to be talking about sex obsession. Why is society so obsessed with sex? So all of this is going to be linked back to the Bible because it's the most original book that actually explains what the heck is going on. And I just found out this information now because it makes everything make sense. Like, I feel like before I had a very religious mind where I was like, oh, I have to believe this, I have to believe that and stuff. But when I started asking questions is when I started getting answers, right? Okay, so let's start with Exhibit A. I'm just going to summarize how most people, right, get addicted to sex, and then Exhibit B will be the analysis of the Bible and biblical context, right, into this aspect. So Exhibit A. Everyone as a kid is introduced to sex in some way, shape, or form. And when people get introduced to that, like, it's like there's a sense of innocence that leaves. It's usually due to one kid being very forward. Like, we had a lot of those kids when I was in primary school and high school. And movies, TV is evil. I always say this, due to that previous video. They introduce this into people's lives, right? They keep flashing these images. Most actors and actresses, which is why I kind of never wanted to go into the industry again, or consider like a career in there, was due to the fact that they had some kind of like sexy. There was always some kind of sexy every single time. They were all in those positions and stuff like that. And I was always like, can't there be an actor and actress who never does this? Even in Hollywood itself, right? It is filled with sex craze. Like, it's a consistent theme, right? In order to amp up to the top, you have to keep like having intercourse with different executives and producers, right, that allow you this opportunity into the industry and stuff. It is such a common thing, you know, the Weinstein list and et cetera, right? So I noticed that there's such an obsession with sex right now. Even in media, right? Sex sells. Most celebrities are almost naked, right? Even Billie Eilish is sexualized now, and she spoke about it, right? But she's still kind of sexualized, right? Because everyone saw her big breasts and she became sexualized. Even what she does is sexual, right? Because you don't have to show your body to be sexual. You can do multiple things and still be perceived that way. But sex is such a common thing. Every song is about that, right? Like Water by Tyler and Milkshake by, I forgot that girl's name, like 50 Cent songs, all of those songs, they are all about sex. If almost every artist makes a song about that, and that is the song that blows up the most. Michael Jackson, the guy before Michael Jackson, who is he? Elvis Presley, right? When he was on stage, he started like showing his crotch and stuff, and then it made people lustful and stuff like that. And I was like, why are people so obsessed with like this thing? And it is due to it being the very reason why mankind actually fell. So when you look into the biblical context, right? In the beginning of the Bible, right, we know that Adam and Eve fell due to wanting to be like gods, and they ate from the fruit of the tree. Now, I want you to think carefully about this, because when I thought about it logically, I always was like, how did mankind fall, right? And then all of a sudden, sacrifices need to be made, like animal sacrifices, and then like for some reason, Jesus is now being sacrificed on the cross. I was like, why? Like, why is blood so important when it started with fruit? It started with a mere fruit. Wouldn't like, because the Bible is a consistent theme, right? It consistently relays that. That's why other religions seem false, because there's a lack of consistency, right? God is consistent. He is the same. He doesn't change. So whatever occurred in the New Testament has to be linked to the Old Testament as well. If Jesus had a blood sacrifice, it means that blood was what caused mankind to fall. And so intercourse with the serpent, which is the serpent seed discussed by William Marion Branham, right? And multiple people like way before him, right? They used to believe that philosophy. and etc., etc. That is exactly what caused the fall of mankind. Steve being, oh, sorry, not Steve. Eve, not Adam and Steve. It's Adam and Eve. Eve had intercourse with the serpent, and that's why Cain was called the child of the serpent, and Abel was the child of, who is it? Abel was a child of Adam. That's why Abel was nice, kind, respectful, and pure, while Cain was disrespectful, murderous, jealous. He had all the negative traits that the devil had. That was his father, literally. And that's why there was an enmity put between them, right? A woman can have intercourse, right, with two different men and carry two twins inside of her. It is actually possible. So that is what caused the downfall of mankind. And that is why it is so prevalent to this day. The obsession with sex. Yeah, so that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for listening. Let me go ahead and talk about mermaids.